Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, where is all my money going? Every month felt like a race. I got paid, I paid bills, I bought groceries, and somehow my bank account was empty again. At first, I blamed my income. I told myself I just didn't make enough money. I thought a bigger paycheck would solve everything. But one day I discovered something that changed everything. The problem wasn't my income. The problem was my spending. Money was leaking out of my life in ways I never noticed. Little purchases, small subscriptions, random spending, things that seemed harmless on their own. But, together, they were draining my bank account. And I had no idea it was happening. That's when I decided to find out exactly where my money was going. So I decided to do something most people never do. I tracked every dollar I spent for 30 days. Not just the big purchases. Everything. Every coffee. Every snack. Every food delivery. Every random purchase that felt too small to matter. The first few days were painful, because I started noticing a pattern. I wasn't spending money on things I truly loved. I was spending money out of habit. Take coffee, for example. Every morning, I stopped at the same coffee shop. It felt harmless. $5 here, $6 there, nothing crazy. But when I added it up, I nearly dropped my phone. I was spending over $150 every month on coffee alone. That's $1,500 every year, for something I finished drinking in 10 minutes. And coffee wasn't the only problem. There were snacks, convenience purchases, late-night cravings, things I bought simply because they were there. That's when I realized something important. Most people don't lose money through one giant mistake. They lose money through hundreds of tiny decisions. Decisions so small they barely notice them, until they add everything together. And when I finally did the math, I understood why my savings account never seemed to grow. The problem wasn't my paycheck. The problem was the leaks, tiny leaks, every single day. After discovering how much I was spending on coffee, I thought I had found the problem. I was wrong. The real shock came a few days later. While reviewing my bank statement, I noticed something strange. Small charges. A few dollars here. A few dollars there. Nothing looked expensive. But there were a lot of them. A streaming service I barely watched. A music subscription I forgot I had. An app I downloaded months ago. A free trial that wasn't free anymore. Individually, none of them seemed like a big deal. But together, they were quietly draining money from my account every month. And the worst part? I wasn't even using most of them. That's when I realized something important. Companies love subscriptions because people forget about them. $5 doesn't feel painful. $10 doesn't feel painful. But month after month, year after year, those small charges add up. I grabbed a notebook and wrote down every subscription I was paying for. When I finished the list, I couldn't believe it. I was paying for things I didn't need, things I didn't use, things I didn't even remember signing up for. That day, I started canceling, one by one, and within minutes, I found money I didn't know I had. Not by earning more, not by working harder, just by paying attention. I thought subscriptions were my biggest problem. Then I looked at how often I paid for convenience. Food delivery became my favorite shortcut. It felt easier than cooking. The meal looked affordable at first, but the final price told a different story. There was a delivery fee, then a service fee, and of course, there was the tip. A cheap meal suddenly wasn't so cheap. I wasn't paying for food anymore. I was paying for convenience. The same thing happened with small purchases. I kept choosing the easy option. Each decision seemed tiny, but tiny decisions add up quickly. When I added everything together, I was shocked. Convenience was costing me hundreds of dollars. That's when I started asking a simple question. Is this convenient or is it expensive? Even after cutting subscriptions and convenience spending, I still found myself buying things I didn't really need. Most purchases happened in the moment. I saw something, and I wanted it immediately. That's when I created a simple rule. I would wait 24 hours before buying anything non-essential. At first, it sounded too simple, but I decided to try it anyway. Whenever I wanted something, I added it to a list instead of buying it. Then I waited one full day, no exceptions. Something surprising started happening. Most of the things I wanted stopped feeling important. The excitement disappeared, and so did the urge to spend money. I realized I didn't actually want many of those things. I only wanted them in the moment. The 24-hour rule saved me hundreds of dollars. not by making me earn more, but by helping me buy less. I used to think saving money required huge sacrifices. But I discovered something surprising. The biggest threat to my savings wasn't large purchases. It was the small purchases I ignored every day. A coffee here, a snack there. None of these purchases felt expensive. That's why I never paid attention to them. But small spending has a dangerous secret. It hides in plain sight. $5 doesn't seem like much. Neither does $10. But those small amounts repeat again and again. And repetition is expensive. One day, I added up all my small purchases. The total shocked me. I wasn't losing money in one big moment. I was losing it in dozens of tiny moments. That's when I learned a powerful lesson. Small purchases create big results over time. The biggest change didn't come from earning more money. It came from paying attention to where my money was going. Before tracking my spending, money seemed to disappear. I never knew exactly where it went. Once I started paying attention, everything changed. I began noticing spending habits I had ignored for years. Some purchases made me happy. Others were just automatic habits. For the first time, I could tell the difference. And that gave me more control over my money. Awareness helped me spend with intention, instead of spending without thinking. I stopped asking, "Can I afford this?" and started asking, "Is this worth it?" That one question saved me hundreds of dollars, because many purchases failed the test. The more aware I became, the easier saving felt. I wasn't forcing myself anymore. I finally understood a powerful lesson. You can't improve what you don't measure. At first, my goal wasn't to save $5,000. I just wanted to save my first $1,000. It felt like a huge number, especially because I had never saved that much before. So I stopped focusing on the final goal. I focused on small wins instead. Every dollar saved felt like progress, even when the amount seemed tiny. Week after week, the savings slowly grew. The process was boring, but it worked. There were moments when I wanted to quit. Saving felt too slow. But I reminded myself of something important. Slow progress is still progress. Then one day I checked my savings. The number was higher than I expected. After months of consistency, it finally happened. I reached my first $1,000. That moment changed everything, because for the first time, saving money felt real. Looking back, I never got a massive raise. I never discovered a secret money trick. What changed my finances wasn't one big decision. It was hundreds of small decisions. Canceling subscriptions, avoiding impulse purchases, tracking my spending, and paying attention to where my money went. None of these actions felt life-changing, but together, they changed everything. The truth is, most people don't have an income problem. They have a spending problem. I used to think saving money required earning more. Now I know it starts with keeping more. If I could save $5,000 without making more money, imagine what you could do by fixing a few money leaks. Start small. One habit can change your entire financial future. So, tell me in the comments, what's the biggest thing wasting your money right now?